This is very intriguing. I am quite interested to know what these other Renans think of the lords that we've defeated already. Lenegis citizenry.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Dahnan city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
She could literally be just walking right beside us, but maybe she's just wearing blue today. Like, we keep talking about the Red Woman. We only saw her once in a red outfit. What if she changed clothes? You good there, Shion? You good? Yeah, eating your invisible cheeseburger?
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
If you got a bone to pick, just say it to my face. You want to know which lord I support? Why? Are you out canvassing for someone? I'm with His Excellency, or Wolze Tel... That guy. You probably know him better as Lord Balsef. All three of Balsef's names suck. I know a lot of people consider him to be a giant brute. Believe me, I realize he can be an aggressive man. Yeah, he's also dead. What those people don't realize is how much he looks after the members of his house. It's fair to say that House Tel Dillis doesn't enjoy much esteem. Those of us who serve it will be the first to admit that.
Yes.
But His Excellency always stands up against any who would mean us harm. Of that we can be sure. His efforts in the crown contest aren't only for his family, but to improve the standing of each and every member of his house.
Yes.
I owe so much to His Excellency, I would never dream of serving any other lord. Interesting.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
Yeah, and then we blew him up. All right, no, I don't need to talk to you again. I assume you're just gonna say the same thing. How many more markers are there? Are we just gonna... Is it just 2 more? Yeah, so probably someone who's supporting Almadria and then someone who's supporting Ganabelt. Because there shouldn't be anyone supporting Volron, right? Didn't Volron, like, kill another lord to take his position or something? Lord Dohalim, you have returned. Ah, and I see you brought aides with you. Do you remember who I am, my lord? Surely you must, yes? Not only do I support House Ilquaris, but most specifically his lordship personally. Oh, so, okay, so you don't support Ganabelt or Almadria. So much so, I've been trying to share my appreciation of his lordship to any who will listen. In fact, I was planning to publish my extensive writings on the subject through this very terminal for all to read and enjoy. But since the lines appear to be cut due to the recent tumult, I've been unable to upload them. Oh no, she's trying to upload her Dohalim fanfics. I know, since you're all here, I'll just read them aloud. There exists a most handsome man, a man who radiates beauty, whose every word, every syllable is divine poetry. He hails from the famed House Ilquaris, and his name, Lord Dohalim. Music is his passion, and art's his great love. The scores of boorish, uncouth men of this land cannot begin to compare to his magnificence. So refined and majestic is his posture, why the mere thought of it brings me to ecstasy. Really? Once he becomes our sovereign, Rena shall bloom anew, ushering in an era of prosperity for our grand civilization. Until that glorious day comes, I shall forever be praying for his victory, morning, noon, and night. Well, what did you think, my lord? I poured my whole heart into it, hoping to capture your essence. Wait, I forgot to mention anything about his lordship's love for collecting things. I must take this time while the lines are down to append it, only then will my masterpiece be complete. All right, I don't ever want to talk to this lady again.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
More to the guy than at first glance? Are you talking about Dohalim? Well, I never. To think anyone would try to tear me away from House Valkyris.
What?
Huh? What do you want? Don't tell me you work for Lord Dohalim or that dreadful Lord Almadria, do you? You don't? Well, don't scare me like that. To answer your question, I come from a family that has served House Valkyris for generations. Is Valkyris Volron or Ganabelt? It's Ganabelt. Indeed, I'm doing all I can to support Lord Ganabelt behind the scenes so that he might emerge victorious. Many think him to be a cruel man, but I insist they're utterly mistaken. No, he's a scumbag, and honestly, probably the lord that I hated the most because he took Zephyr from us. Though I won't deny he can be strict, he puts Rena's interests front and center like no one else. Why he advocates that rather than stay confined to Lenegis, we should get on with colonizing Dahna and expand our horizons. That way, we will become masters of both worlds and overturn our current minority status on Dahna's surface. That is why he seeks to become our next sovereign. Tell me, is there a greater, more noble ambition than that? I think not. It is a pursuit of power for the advancement of all our kind. It is what makes him an exemplary lord, a model above all others. Though I was unable to accompany him myself, my two sons have been blessed with the honor of joining him on the surface. I probably killed them. As their father, it fills me with endless pride. They're most likely dead.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Dahnans?
Because he was a scumbag? Is there anyone back here to talk to? No. So I assume there must be more Renans up ahead in the next area that we can speak with then, to continue this side quest. Cass, don't lie, you hate Volron the most because his abducting Shion made you lose Fire Sword for a while? No. I hate Ganabelt the most. Without a doubt. Do you think the game is ever going to explain to us why... Oh yeah, here we have... This is... One of them is Almadria, the other one is Volron. But do you think the game is ever going to explain why Shion had the Master Fire Core and Balsef didn't?
This area
I don't think they ever told us that.
As that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis's transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Dude, that Zoogle does not care about that flamethrower at all. The guards say she stole it, and I didn't remember that dialogue. Pretty sure they said she sold it at the very start of the game. That was a very long time ago, so I just don't remember. But also, how did she steal an entire Master Core? It seems like that would be pretty heavily guarded, right? Or it would at least be on Balsef at all times.
Pardon me.
This area falls under the sole jurisdiction of House Kaineris. I must ask you to depart at once. Surely you don't claim to be ignorant of our famed house, ruled over by the esteemed Lord Almadria. Oh, she's a scumbag. Probably the second most hated lord for me. Most hated lords, from most hated to least hated. Number 1, Ganabelt. Number 2, Almadria. Number 3? Volaron and Balsef are kind of like tied, I guess. So I'll say Balsef is 3. Volaron is 4, just because Volaron's boss fight was awesome. And then Dohalim's last place, obviously. If so, I urge you to listen well. In fact, I bid you listen carefully regardless. Have you ever noticed how in the history of Lenegis, only a few women lords have emerged to compete in the crown contest? Many have theories as to why this might be, but Lord Almadria quashed the doubts of any naysayers through sheer might. In fact, not only did she usurp her father and previous family master, she also removed her older brother to claim the seat for herself. Yeah, that sounds like the crazy lady to me. She is a woman who stops at nothing to get what she wants, who gives her enemies nary the slightest opening to strike. Truly, Lord Almadria is a woman of talent. No one in all Rena better exemplifies the virtues of our nation's meritocracy. Soon, the age of a glorious woman sovereign reigning over Lenegis shall be upon us at last. Has there never been a female sovereign? The way Dohalim spoke over when he said his or her predecessor, it sounded like there had been women sovereigns before.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right, too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, she's dead, as she deserves. That's all that really matters. Mine. Sheep meat? Who leaves their sheep meat out like this? What's happening? I don't get it. There wasn't a decree or anything to announce this like there always is. You're right. Even if this was an accident, it's strange that we still haven't heard anything from the Sovereign yet. Do my ears deceive me, or are you saying that you don't trust what the Sovereign is doing? I'll have you know that I was a part of the delegation that came down with him to Dahna during the previous crown contest. He was a brilliant man and just as good with astral arts as well. I'm sure he's well aware of the situation and thus has a plan to resolve it. Until then, we must simply wait and trust in his judgment. Interesting. So whoever is supposed to be the Sovereign in charge right now, like people in Rena, have met him or been part of his group. You saved my life. I would have been a goner had you not arrived when you did, my lady. I understand we're in a crown contest, but I had no idea such a capable astral artist was in our midst. Forgive me for not realizing it sooner. Come on, you don't need to bow so deeply. All I did was strike that Zoogl's weak point. I didn't even get to go down to Dahna for the crown contest, so I'm not sure how to feel about all this praise you're heaping on me. Alright, so this person over here must support Volaron.
Ridiculous.
Huh. How loathsome. Huh? Oh, I was just reading about Volaron. Can I help you?
Okay.
I was always an ardent supporter of Lord Urwagal Hildress myself. Were it not for his sudden death down on the surface, I likely still would be. In my eyes, Lord Urwagal is the true Water Lord. I don't believe for a second that he perished in some accident like they say. Oh, Volaron definitely murdered that dude straight up. Okay, so Volaron doesn't have any supporters, presumably, because he killed the guy who's supposed to be the Water Lord. Makes sense. As for how Volaron runs Ganatheros, don't get me started. I hear he enslaves not only Dahnans, but even his fellow Renans. We may live in a society where to the victor go the spoils, but his actions go against what we as a people stand for. Besides, just what sort of family line is this House Ignisari of his anyway? I'd never heard of it until he came along, which means they must be among the lowest dregs of society. That such an ignoble lineage could suddenly produce an astral artist capable of ascending to lordship is unheard of. None of it makes any sense, not to mention all of the upheaval around here of late. What is happening to our people?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganatheros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsef hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you, because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsef and the others? They all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Dahnan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Xion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
Hey, yo, 220 SP, don't mind if I do. Yo, Almadria was a monster, though. Like, straight up. Alright. Just keep going this way. The residential quarter is completely ruined, the roads are a mess, and we can't get any power. The info terminals have gone dead, too. We can't get in contact with any of our fellow Renans on the ground in Dahna. I wonder if the Sovereign's aware of what's going on. I mean, you would think so, right? I'm starting to think that there might not be a Sovereign who can be informed. That woman in red might be behind everything. Or someone else even, in control of her. Father, what's going on? I'm scared. I'm not sure, son. Never in all my years here on Lenegis has anything like this ever happened, not even once. There's always been a decree before anything takes place. Not only was there none this time, but the residential quarter has seen damage and injuries. Could that mean there's something bad happening then? It's possible. For now, all we can do is wait and hope for the best.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current Sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfricht Milgras, the former Lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfricht whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming Sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the Sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, Sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Dude, I can't wait to see how this unfolds. I'm so invested. Hey there. How could any of this happen? For years, Lenegis was a bastion of order and stability. Where did it all go so wrong? Don't mind me, just passing through.